I have a very special review today. I'm so excited. End of Days by Susan E. Yeah. Whoa, whoa. So End of Days is the last book in the Penryn and the End of Days trilogy, and I was sent it early to review for free. Yeah, so in case you don't know, I am a cheerleader for the Angel Fall series, and yeah, I got sent this email that told me I was that, and they wanted to give me a free copy to review. Yeah, so I had this pre-ordered to come to my house in like 10 days, but I got it early and I read it and it was wonderful. If you don't know, Penryn and the End of Days is a trilogy about the post-apocalyptic world after angels have invaded Earth, basically. But it's different than that. Like, you think you know where it's going because it says Angel Apocalypse, but you don't. This is like on par for one of the creepiest series I've ever read. Mara Dyer is creepy, it's suspenseful, it makes you jump, but this one just like, it's gruesome, it's gory, it's gross, and awesome. And this finale was no different. It was just like the first two, except kind of on steroids, and it was better in my opinion. It's 330 pages long, so it's bigger than the first two. Like, I got it in my hands and automatically I was just like, oh, this is huge. Like, you don't think it's that big, but for the Angel Fall books, this is huge. If you haven't read Angel Fall, please go read Angel Fall and World After before you watch the rest of this, because I don't want to spoil you. You would miss out on a great series. Let me just say that. Okay, so if you've read through World After and you're like, I don't know, should I read End of Days, should I not? My answer for finales is always yes, unless it's the Mattress series. For this series, you should definitely read this one. It's my favorite. If I had to rank them, I would say End of Days, Angel Fall, World After. Awesome, good things, really great. This one, we start off where we left off in World After, obviously. And we got Paige with her locusts, and Beliel, who was dying, Raffi with Penryn, and I can't really tell you much else. This is the end, obviously. That's why it's called End of Days. But it's very dramatic. It has a lot of action compared to the first two. There is some romance, some kissing, yes. And obviously there's more freaky monsters. So what's not to love? I think I'm gonna give it a 96 or 97, like in between there, 96.5. It's not my favorite book of all time. It's not, but it's definitely one of my favorites of the year so far, and it's my favorite of the series. It's great. It's a good finale. I think you should read it. Without further ado, if you have not read End of Days, please leave. I don't want to spoil you. It's worth it. Trust me. Trust me. I had to wait a whole year, so yeah. Okay. I actually took notes for this one. Be proud, guys. I actually paid attention this time. This is the finale. It's the last one. When I got sent the email to review this, I like almost cried. I screamed. I was so excited. I told everybody who loves the series and Laura that I was getting this, and I was like, I'm gonna die. And then it showed up in my mailbox and I was like, yes. And of course it's finals week, but I still read this anyways because it was worth it. Susan E. is a genius. Like, I didn't even think about this finale until it was at my doorstep, because like it's not coming out until May 12th, and it's like April 30th I think today, April 29th, and basically I just like, I couldn't collect my thoughts about it because it's been like a year since I read the first two, and I just kind of like stopped thinking about it. Like it left my mind for a while, so I never really had any expectations. And plus, for a long time we were all under the impression that this series was going to be 5 books long, but it's 3 books now. Going into this book, I had zero expectations. Like, I was expecting Penryn and Raffi to get together and potentially for the angels to leave Earth. That's like all I had in mind. And of course, Susan E. took it to a whole new level with creepy things and fighting and awesomeness, and it was well worth my time. Right now, this is my favorite book of the year just because the only 2 contenders for that category are this and Gone Girl. So congrats, Susan E. You have my favorite book of the year in April. I really like this book because there was, one, a lot of Raffrin action. It was so cute. I really loved how it kept its creepy vibe going, you know? You thought you saw the end of all the monsters in the second one, but like you still had the Sixers coming out of nowhere being all weird, and the Pit Lords and the Consumed and the Hellions. I call them Hellions, but I can't tell if they're supposed to be Hellions or Hellions. Comment below if you know. But no, like it was really good. It was really badass. I thought the ending tied everything up really well, and just like all the Angel Fall books, you get to the point where you have about 30 to 40 pages left and you're paranoid because you know it's going to end, but you don't know how it's going to resolve itself. And that happened with this, of course, but it was just really good, you guys, really good. Like a good, fulfilling finale. Like, it may not have been the best book ever, like I said, but for these books, like, it is the best of these books. So I think it accomplished its goal, and it showed character growth, and it was just quotable, funny, awesome, loved it. We are done, okay? I can just turn off the camera, right? If only. One of my notes. It's a trap! Cult people, question mark? Lately, I seem to be all about you. The best part about this book, and this series really, is that the main couple is pretty much in denial for most of it. In this one, it was mostly Raffi being in denial because Penryn, you know, she totally embraces him by like kissing him and doing that whole like making him touch her boob scene. That was awkward. But like the whole book is basically Raffi being like, nah, I don't love her. Like, she's not my daughter, man. I just hang out with her. She's just really badass. Like, we're not together. And then, of course, in the end, he's like, just kidding. I really do like you, and I'm gonna stay with you. And she's like, okay. I love the scenes whenever Raffi was talking about her like human boy or whatever, and he's like, yeah, one day you're gonna find a nice farmer. And Penryn's like, you really know nothing about our world, do you? Raffi is like my book boyfriend to the end. Like, I love a lot of book boys, you do too, it's cool, but like Raffi just seems like the kind of guy that I would get along with because we have a similar humor, and he's just so funny and cute and adorable, and I just really like him a lot. I liked Beliel's storyline because in the first two books, I can't remember if he's in the first one, I think he is, he's just like this bad guy, and we like hate him because he does evil things, and he like befriended Paige and then betrayed her and blah blah blah, and he's just weird. Like, he's gross and ugly and nasty and mean. And so to take this new book and like completely alter our opinions of him, it kind of reminds me of the Sebastian / Jonathan storyline in the Mortal Instruments. I mean, like, we all still hate Jonathan, like, he's a terrible dude, and we hate Beliel too, but at the same time you get enough backstory on Beliel that it makes him not necessarily likable, but understandable, and you kind of understand where he's coming from, and you see what he's gone through in the end, and you're like, okay, you did get treated badly, I understand that. It doesn't justify what you did, but you were treated badly. It was just so heartbreaking. The whole time we went into hell with the Watchers in general just was a great time. Like, I thought the banter between the Watchers was really great, but like the fact that Beliel was so wholeheartedly in this, and he really wanted to go fight for Raffi, and he wanted to get out of hell, obviously, like we all would. When they go around and they're like, okay guys, so one of you is gonna stay here, like, I hope you're all aware of that. Is everybody good with that? Are we okay? And they're all like, yeah, psh, it's not me, like, I'm not gonna stay in hell, don't worry, it's somebody else. And like, it's Beliel, and he's like, crap, I made a bad decision, you know, I'm stuck in hell by myself and I have to get out by myself. And like the whole cool thing that Susan did was that at the beginning of the book, she like kind of made Beliel look at Penryn differently and be like, hey, like, you're familiar, like, I know you. And she thinks he's familiar too, which is weird. And so you go about it and you're like, how do they know each other? Well, it turns out that Penryn left Beliel in hell. The fact that they go into Beliel to get into hell, I mean, that's obviously a little bit metaphorical, but I don't know. It was just really cool to see Beliel go from this really evil guy to this like fallen angel who gets left behind without his friends and has to crawl his way out of hell to get to the real world and all this stuff. Like, it's serious stuff, and it's pretty cool, I think, that she came up with that whole storyline. And the fact that she made it relevant to the rest of the story without just being like, here, character development, enjoy. Like, enjoy that little treat. But the Watchers, I don't know all their names, obviously, but they're just so funny. Like, I really loved the scene where they basically ask Raffi, and they're like, hey, is Penryn your daughter of man? And he kind of looks at Penryn and he's like, eh, she's not my daughter of man, but she's a daughter of man. Raffi thinks about that for a second before answering. She is a daughter of man, and she's traveling with me, but she's not my daughter of man. What kind of answer is that? "Oh, so she's available?" asks Howler. Raffi gives him an icy look. "We're all single now, you know," says Hawk. "They can't punish us twice for the same crime," says Cyclone. "And now that we know you're out of the race, Commander, that makes me the next best looking in line," says Howler. "Enough," Raffi, who doesn't look amused. "You're not her type." The Watchers smile knowingly. "How do you know?" I ask. Raffi turns to me. "Because angels aren't your type. You hate them, remember?" Susan E. writes really good dialogue because it's funny. And it's just really cool. Cool characters too. Like, I love the characters in this series. Just, they're really interesting and unique. Like, Penryn herself is just a really great character because, you know, even though she's a girl in the apocalypse, like, she actually has legitimate training. Like, she's a martial arts person, and like, she ends up leading people. She kills angels. She can sword fight. Like, she's the most badass girl I know for the post-apocalyptic world. Like, especially the scene where she's like broadcasting to everybody at the end to share about the talent show, and she like doesn't know how to end that message, and she's like, "This is Penryn, daughter of man, angel slayer, peace out, bros." And like, just by doing that, it was just like, ugh, epicness, awesomeness. And she comes from such an awesome family too. Like, in the first book, you just kind of see her family as not necessarily great anything. They're just kind of there, and you're like, oh, well, she has a sister, she has a mom, but Penryn, she's the badass, awesome one. But like, the more the books went on, I just found that they got better. Like, Paige is so awesome. Like, she's creepy, and I still don't like picturing her in my head because she has stitches everywhere, but like, she is Queen of the Locust. Like, she is awesome. She like attacked a White Streak. And then we have the mom, who Mom is crazy in the first one. We don't even care about her. Whereas in this one, she's got rotten eggs. She runs a cult. She tells people to jump off a bridge. Like, she is just awesome. Really great. I just love that all of the main badass people are girls. Shall we talk about the Sixers? Okay, so we meet this new animal in this series, and it's called the Sixers. It has 666 tattoos on its forehead, and it has 7 heads, and one of them is a dead human head. And they're the creepiest things ever. I just picture the Hydra from Hercules with like animal heads and a dead head, and they're just weird and freaky and terrifying. And the fact that they have angelic plague, crazy, man. The whole scene at the end where they come and they start like making all the angels die, like, I just would love to see that on screen because it would so be scary. Like, it would freak me out. I don't know what is going on in Susan's head because like, she has the weirdest mind ever. Like, I would literally never think, oh, we need a devil beast that has 666 tattooed on its forehead, and then we should make 666 of them, you know? And like, even if you go back to the first book, like Paige, like, how would you come up with a child that is like cut apart and stuck back together with stitches? Or like the freaking locust scorpion things. Like, this is an angel book. Like, how did you come up with this? I want to know. Susan, I'm talking to you. Like, tell me please, because I don't know how you did it. I don't. Let's talk about the end because it was so great. You know, like, usually you have this point in trilogies or like dystopians or whatever where you have like this final battle and it's very dramatic and people die and you fight and it's crazy. And I really was pleased with this one. You know, there are a couple that you're like, it's not long enough, or it's not really thought out, or there's a loophole. Like, this one, it had everything I wanted, I think. It was fairly long for a fight scene, I think, and it had such a well thought out premise. Like, the fact that it's a blood hunt and they start out with the talent show, but the humans have it planned out that they're, you know, gonna have bright lights and feedback and loud screamo music and like sharks in the ocean to attack the angels. Like, I'm not that smart, but obviously humanity can survive if we want to. To push it even more and include the whole thing with the pit lord like that, I feel like is a little bit of a cop-out, but I would not like to fight 666 Sixers, so good job, Susan, on that part. Like, people died, it was terrible, but I feel like it was believable, you know, in this fictional world. Like, it makes sense that Penryn would have enough fight in her to survive, and Paige would survive, and her mom would survive, and Raffi would survive, even though he had to sacrifice his wings. Like, it was a logical ending, but it was also unexpected because I did not think it was gonna go the way it did. I really appreciated the talent show too. Like, I think the best part about these books is that they kind of restore your faith in humanity a little bit. Like, we throw that phrase around freely nowadays, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, that person just fed a homeless guy because he had extra money and he went to Subway. Like, you see those all the time and you're like, oh, that restores my faith in humanity. But like, this series, like, I would still be terrified if we had an angel apocalypse, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I can trust humanity enough to know that we could come together at some point and like fight and win. They set up the talent show, and the first act is the San Francisco Ballet, which is just heartbreaking in itself because the girl goes up there and explains everything, and she's like, there used to be 70 of us and now there are like 6. And then like midway through, the random guy shows up and you could tell he's supposed to be part of the dance, and they're all happy and crying, and you're just like, ah, humanity is so pretty. And then the second act, well, besides from Tweedledee and Tweedledum, is the guy who comes up on his guitar and plays Hallelujah. Like, I put on Hallelujah for like from that part till the end, just because I felt like Susan was probably listening to it, so I wanted to listen to it, and it's really just great eerie music to put to that part. And so I was just like sitting there listening to it, like almost crying, just super excited. And of course, what would humanity be without playing a pop song in the apocalypse? I just picture the guy on his guitar, you know, and he's really serious doing Hallelujah. Then he finishes and goes into this pop song. He's like,
so here's my number, so call me baby.
It's like really sad and melodic, and you're like, this is the most beautiful song I've ever heard, when really it's Call Me Maybe. Like, that's what I picture when they're doing the little singing thing. Then at this point, the locusts come in and we have a huge fight with the locusts, and then after that the angels come in, and it's just like bam, 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 like hits everywhere, right on, awesomeness. I thought the ending was great. Like, it was super well done. And like the fact that Uriel gets beaten up too, like he doesn't get killed by angels. Raffi literally just cuts off part of his wing and is like, okay, bye, have fun, let the humans take care of you. And Uriel's like on the ground, and everybody just kind of attacks him, and they're like, this is for my Nancy, this is for little Joe, and you're just like, yeah, fight him, fight him. I just picture the scene from Anastasia, the animated film, where Rasputin's little glass thing rolls under Anastasia's foot and she just starts stomping on it. She's like, this is for my family, man, like, yeah. No? Okay. I guess I should talk about the real ending, the Raffrin ending of Beauty. I think we all knew to some extent that Penryn and Raffi were going to end up together, because like, why would you write a story like this and not make them end up together? Like, it just logically, from a selling standpoint, from a logical standpoint, like, it doesn't make sense to not put them together in the end. Someday I wish there was an author who would just like totally break up a couple just to see what would happen, but I'm glad she did not do this because I ship them very hard. I just think they're so cute, guys. I could not rave about them enough. They're just adorable, and I think Raffi just makes it so much better. Like, I actually, I marked the whole section where they like get together, like this part and this part, and it's just so funny, like the dialogue between them.
Are you really gonna make me spell it out? Yes, spell it. He stares deep into my eyes. It makes me squirm, but also makes my heart flutter like a schoolgirl's. Oh wait, I am a schoolgirl. I blink a few times wondering if that's how I'm supposed to bat my eyelashes. What are you doing? What? Ugh, I suck at this. Are you batting your eyelashes at me? What, me? No, of course not. What? Spell it. He squints his eyes suspiciously at me. This is awkward. Yes, it is. You're not going to make this easy on me, are you? You'd lose all respect for me if I did. I'd make an exception for you. Quit stalling. What are you trying to say? I'm trying to say that I, yes? He sighs. You're very difficult, you know that? You're trying to say that you're what? Okay, I was wrong. Now let's move on. Where do you think would be the best place for the angels to stay until they leave? Whoa, I burst out laughing. What, did you just say that you were wrong? Was that the word, wrong? I smiled at him. I like the sound of that coming out of your mouth. It's lyrical. W-R-O-N-G. Wrong. Wrong. Go on, sing it with me. If I didn't love your laugh so much, I'd kick you off this extremely noisy and bumpy vehicle and let you shiver in the freezing water. He loves my laugh. I clear my throat. What were you wrong about? I ask in all seriousness. He throws me a glare looking like he might not answer. About daughters of man. Oh, we're not all freakish, repulsive animals who sully your reputation? No, I was right about that, he nods, but it turns out they're not always a bad thing.
Oh, they're so cute. Here's the part before that I didn't read.
There sure was a lot of fuss over a job that no one wants. Oh, lots of angels want the job, just not the ones who should have it. Power is best held by the ones who don't want it. Why don't you want it? I have better things to do. Like what? He opens one eye and looks at me. Like convince a stubborn girl to admit she's madly in love with me. I can't help but smile. So if it's not a a pig farm that you want. What is it? He asks. I swallow. What about a safe place to live where we don't have to scrounge for food or fight for it? It's yours. That's it? All I have to do is ask? No, there's a price for everything. I knew it. What is it? Me.
Guys, I could literally read you so many pages. Like, I usually don't physically mark in my books, but like, I felt like in this one I needed to because it's like my favorite series ever. Not favorite, but one of my favorite ones.
Don't drop me. I cling tighter and press myself up against him a little more. Never. There's so much confidence and assurance in his voice. I have you. You're as secure as you can be. Oh, what the hell. I wrap my legs completely around his hips and hook my feet across his butt. He tilts his body forward a little with a smile spreading across his face. My cheeks fling.
I could literally do this all day. I don't know what this was. I think it was better than the first time I did it though. So, in conclusion, I love End of Days. It was really a great finale and I'm super happy with it, and the whole series just was really well done. And you think Angels are done when you've read like Cassandra Clare books, but honestly I think Susan E. does Angels better than her. I think Cassandra Clare just knows how to write Shadowhunters, but Susan E. has the Angels down like good. I'm just really interested to see what she wants to write next because I think she's really a good writer, and I would be, you know what, okay, you know what she should do? This is similar to the Walking Dead situation. Like, she should have this apocalypse story somewhere else. You know, same timeline, same place, but like do it in New York City or something, or do it in Chicago, or do it in Florida or somewhere like that. Like, I want to see that, please. Like, there can't be only one daughter of man who fell for an angel. Let's be honest here. I'm literally so thankful to the people who sent this to me because this is like the one book I wanted this spring. Like, it was the one I needed, and I got it for free. And I kind of count it as an early birthday present because my birthday's on Saturday, and so I just kind of like, thanks guys, you sent it to me for my birthday, but not knowingly. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you have comments or you just, you know, want to talk more about Raffi, hit me up in the comments or on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I don't know if you know that. Everybody always says this at the end of their videos. They're like, OMG, if you want, you can follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. And I just don't do that, so in all seriousness, you can follow me on Twitter. I do talk a lot about fictional worlds, and I like to tweet in all caps a lot. But I think I'm a cool chick, and you can follow me on Instagram, Goodreads, all that jazz. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the series as much as I did. And I will see you again later for another review.